Alright y'all, so Candace Owens just lit a whole match and she is about to burn everything to the ground. From the moment Charlie Kirk's sudden death hit the headlines, she's been warning that the story the public is being fed isn't the real one. In her words, this wasn't a tragedy, it was a setup, and now she's naming names. According to Candace, Charlie was under some extreme pressure in the weeks before he passed. She's saying that he was supposedly threatened by a circle of billionaires, and those threats left him anxious, paranoid, and even convinced that something dangerous was going to happen to him. But it gets even deeper. She is accusing the FBI of actively protecting the billionaires she says were behind it all, covering up evidence, silencing witnesses, and making sure the truth never sees daylight. According to her, this isn't just a conspiracy, it's a full-scale operation to protect some of the most powerful figures in the world from ever being held accountable. And now she's promising to do what nobody else will, drop a full list of names of people she holds responsible, the billionaires she says orchestrated Charlie's murder. Things are about to get messier than ever because Candace did not come to play, so let's get into her claims. Okay, so a lot of people kind of assumed that Candace Owens would have moved on from the Charlie Kirk situation by now, but y'all, they were very wrong about that. Instead, it's starting to look like she's getting more and more determined to expose the secrets and conspiracies that have been going on right under our noses. But this time, there are rumors that she finally managed to get her hands on that list of billionaires who allegedly put out a hit on Charlie, and she is not afraid to expose them. And the crazy part about this is that when she first started speaking up, people thought that she was doing too much and was chasing clout with Charlie's name. But the receipts that she just pulled up with, well, let's just say that they might owe her an apology. See, when the incident first happened, the feds immediately announced that they were taking over, saying, "As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake City field office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside our partners." But that was kind of strange because a lot of people praised the feds for jumping in so quickly and taking over the case. The FBI has a bigger budget than the state and the local police, so everybody thought that it meant that they were taking this case seriously and would solve the case quickly. But Candace immediately called BS on this and claimed that the feds only took over the case because they were trying to cover up the real perpetrators. She tweeted, "The feds immediately interjected and took over the case from local police departments. If they had wanted to catch Charlie's killer, they would have immediately publicized all pictures and videos and the internet would have solved it in minutes. The desire was never there." She also accused the feds of a massive cover-up, saying, "More people were involved and we need to know whom. A lot of school shootings are related to Discord chats, so there is an underground emerging and we need to know who the directors of it are." She also accused the feds of deliberately sabotaging the case by retweeting this post that said, "I guarantee the FBI was in that Discord server and that's why we won't get it before it's been scrubbed." Now at the time, people thought she was just being a conspiracy theorist as usual, but we really started to pay attention because she started to say some things that were suspicious, to say the least, and she was very convincing. She claimed that Charlie had been very bothered and panicky in the weeks leading up to his death, and that he was scared that someone was going to hurt him very badly. According to Candace, he had gotten in some trouble with some powerful billionaire sponsors who were not used to being told no. She said Charlie Kirk was fighting with some very powerful billionaires that he took money from over things he was discussing. The pressure on him was immense over the last 2 weeks. The truth will be revealed. The messages will be leaked, and the movement he built will rise up. She also retweeted this post that said, "Charlie was about to lose his last major donor because he refused to ban Tucker Carlson from events. There are a lot of people shedding crocodile tears. The billionaires must be exposed for the cretins that they are." And that's what we started to pay more attention to her. If there's one thing we have learned about billionaires in the past year, it's that they can sometimes be very dangerous. And like Candace said, they do not like hearing the word no, especially when it comes from someone who they've been giving money to. Just when we people thought that the conversation had already reached its breaking point, Jaguar Wright stepped in and completely shifted the tone. On her podcast, she didn't just agree with Candace, she went even further, making it clear that she believes there's far more being kept from the public than anyone realizes. According to Jaguar, the silence from the feds has nothing to do with the protecting of an integrity of an investigation. Instead, she argued that the real reason for all the secrecy is to protect a circle of powerful figures who could have direct ties to what happened to Charlie.
It's clear we're not getting all the information. It's clear something's off here. The first person, the old man, I don't even know why he was grabbed, but he was grabbed and his picture was fondled out. And then there was someone else who was a person of interest. And that didn't work. And then we got this guy. He had a bulletproof vest that might have caught the exit. Really? That's interesting. That's definitely an interesting point of view. But what kind of bulletproof vest are you talking about? Because usually bulletproof vests, they cover your front, they cover your back. There's points of vulnerability on the sides usually. I haven't seen too many. I mean, was he wearing like hardcore Kevlar? Like fully body casted? That's wild. Nobody mentioned that yet. Military grade. He was wearing military grade. I don't know. It's funny. Seems like they might have mentioned that.
But y'all, there's more. She also had a guest on her show who made some pretty interesting points.
I don't want to even get into the whole thing with the GUN being dismantled, the guy jumping off of the roof without the, weapon. This whole thing looks fishy. And that's why I said, I always say this. I say, I'd rather get all the information first, then make a comment. But yeah, it's just real fishy. Of course. They say
We have a right to question the validity of it. And it's got to pass the smell test. There's something wrong with all of this. And everyone is starting to pick it out piece by piece, thread by thread. Everyone is starting to see something's wrong here. The question is, why?
And that's where the real question hits. If Jaguar and Candace are saying it is true that the feds are actively protecting billionaires instead of seeking justice, then this isn't just a problem, it's a crisis. Well, the next thing we knew, the feds announced that they had arrested a young man named Tyler Robinson, who they believed had acted alone. Immediately, Candace called BS on this and accused the feds of trying to cover up the real situation. And because fans already believed her because of the receipts that she brought in earlier, they tried to put pressure on the feds. At first, the feds continued to insist that Tyler acted alone, pushing some interesting narratives about him. They even released some supposed text messages between Tyler and his roommate, and while that was supposed to help clear their case, it only ended up doing more damage to the case. Fans immediately clocked how weird those texts sounded, and a lot of people still believe to this day it was written with AI. I mean, one text that he sent said, "I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." And fans noticed how convenient it was that he confessed to everything that the feds needed to tie him to the and find him guilty. Saying all that in one text is sus, to say the least. And again, this is where people started to believe when Candace said that there was a lot of BS going on with the feds. Then the pressure got too much. The feds then caved in a little and admitted that maybe, just maybe, Tyler hadn't been acting alone. It was reported that the FBI was not ruling out that others may have helped radicalize or aid Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, per Bureau sources. Agents are combing through chat logs, dark web activity, and suspect affiliations, and the FBI officials said, "We are focused on the radicalization element. The truth will not be hidden or buried or classified. The public will know. No stone should be left unturned. The public deserves answers on who radicalized this degenerate, and they must be held accountable." But Candace wasn't having it, and she replied, "We know they are lying. If they'd refer to try another BS narrative before my show, we'll be happy to shred that one too. But it got even more interesting when Tyler's grandmother claimed that he was being set up. She said, "My son, his dad, is a Republican for Trump. Most of my family members are Republican. I don't know any single one who's a Democrat. I'm just so confused. I don't think he ever shot a gun, to tell you the truth. He doesn't hunt. He's never liked anything like that. I know he doesn't own any guns. There's just no way he could have been that good of a shot. There's no way he could be There's absolutely no way that he did that. I've watched that child grow up and I can't imagine that it would ever be him. And I'm not just saying that as his grandma, it's just knowing him as I do." Now, nobody believed the grandma at first because, well, she's his grandmother. It's kind of her job to defend her grandson to the end, no matter what he's being accused of. But then Candace seemed to believe her because she started claiming that she didn't believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone. In fact, from the way she told it, it seemed like she kind of believes that he might be innocent and just set up by the billionaires to be the fall guy. She tweeted, "Who called the hit on Charlie? We need answers." She then went on to say, "Be very wary and suspicious of the people who are already telling us to stop asking questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination." She continued to tweet stuff like, "They tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died. Tucker Carlson. This is a fact. Pressure, intimidation, financial threat. Stop lying. Money moves people to do strange things. If you betrayed Charlie, I will find out. Right about now, I think that whoever made the decision to assassinate Charlie Kirk is recognizing that it was a terrible mistake. They thought they were going to grassy knoll it. Instead, they awakened the entire world." She went on to make some very bold claims, hinting that the government might be involved in the cover-up. She said, "The federal government is pressuring Utah officials to close the Charlie Kirk case. I wonder why." She then went on her show and said some very concerning things that made things even more suspicious. She claimed that Charlie's powerful sponsors were putting a lot of pressure on him to publicly endorse some ideologies that he didn't really believe in. They eventually pulled their sponsorship, leaving Turning Point in a bad place financially, but Charlie still didn't crack. And when they realized that he wouldn't budge, that was when the threats began.
When people started speaking about the weekend, I told you guys the truth. That's it, okay? I don't like the fact that Charlie was literally facing financial threats over his speech, the thing that mattered most to him, right? Fighting for free speech. Even if you disagreed with somebody, you got to make sure that they have a right to express their viewpoints. And what happened to me a year earlier seemed to be happening to him 1 year later.
She then put the feds on blast, calling them out for being compromised. According to her, the feds allegedly want the case closed ASAP because they wanted people to stop asking questions. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Well, I have it now on a very well-placed authoritative source that the FBI is putting an absurd amount of pressure right now on the authorities in Utah and also the rest of the government in Utah to come out and to say that the Charlie Kirk case is closed. They want it over. They want Charlie's assassination to be officially ruled lone gunman. It was a lone gunman that did that. Nobody else is involved. Now, why would they? Why would they want that, right? What are they saying, at least to the authorities? Are they saying like, this is the reason? And I'm sure they're not coming out and being honest or saying something that might ring truer to us, the public, which would be them saying, well, we know who did this and we want to protect those people, so close the case. What they're actually saying instead is essentially, if you don't close the case against Charlie Kirk and rule it a lone gunman, then it might mess up our prosecution against Tyler Robinson. That feels a little bit to me like moral blackmail. Hey, man, we're not hiding anything, but we've got this guy, Tyler Robinson. If you don't close this case, then it might harm our chances of locking this guy up. Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure that they are being just moral. I'm sure they're telling the truth to the authorities. Now, I want to remind you guys, we should take a look at their current case against Tyler Robinson to see if we should accept this narrative, because currently there is absolutely no video which shows Tyler Robinson firing the weapon or even taking aim at Charlie Kirk. In fact, the individual who filmed the footage of the shooter on the roof, the lone video that exists of the shooter on the roof, also told me that he doesn't think that Tyler Robinson is the guy. So how's that going to work for an eyewitness account? When he reported the shooter on the roof to Utah on the campus, he was clear that the person was wearing an entirely different outfit than the ones that they're currently trying to claim that Tyler wore on that day, remember?
So yeah, the feds are not looking good with this one, and the more Candace talks, the more convincing she is about the likelihood of there being a cover-up. And now there are rumors that she has given the feds a 7-day ultimatum to either reveal the truth or she will go public with the identities of the billionaires she thinks are guilty. And just a little hint, it allegedly included at least one prime minister of a country that's currently at war, if you catch my drift. And now here we are. It looks like Candace isn't backing down. The feds are scrambling and the world is watching this play out in real time. If even half of what she's claiming is true. And this isn't just a political scandal. This is a public, global bombshell waiting to go off. And the billionaires she's saying orchestrated Charlie's death aren't just rich names on paper. They're power brokers whose reputations could crumble overnight if the truth ever comes out. And with that 7-day clock ticking, we're about to find out if Candace is holding receipts that could blow this case wide open, or if the establishment will manage to bury it once and for all. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain. Whatever happens next won't just shake the room, it's going to shake the entire system.